2 of the following videos are true, while the other one is trash. Can you spot the fake? Round 3, let's begin. First, take a paperclip and bend it to open it up like this. Then take the smaller side and bend it once more to make a tiny loop. Do this again with the other paperclip so you have 2 nearly identical ones. Next, tape one paperclip to the negative terminal of a AA battery, making sure there's solid metal on metal contact. Then tape the other paperclip to the positive terminal. Next, to prop this device upright on a table, I used a small piece of plasticine. Next, take some enameled copper wire and wrap it around something small and cylindrical, like another battery, and do this many times until you've made a coil. To make sure this coil stays tight, take the end of the wire and wrap it around the coil a few times. Do that again with the other side. When done correctly, the wire should be sticking out on opposite sides of the coil like this. Then take some fine grit sandpaper and rub both wire ends to remove the enamel. Importantly though, only sand off one side when you do this. When done correctly, one side will look bare and the other side will have visible signs of the enamel. Lastly, take some neodymium magnets and place them on the center of the battery facing upwards. Now when you place the coil through each paperclip loop and let go, you've successfully made a mini motor and the coil will spin. If you take a standard 5mW red laser pointer like the kind used for presentations, you might think it's relatively safe and won't start a fire. But if you aim it directly at the tip of a standard match from very close range, you can light it, as you can see here. Last time I showed that a bimetallic strip will always bend the same way when it's heated, regardless of which direction the heat is applied from. That's because it's made of 2 different metal alloys that expand by differing amounts when heated. However, if you take that same bimetallic strip and cool it down by placing it in the freezer, it will now bend in the opposite direction, which is to the right, since both metals also shrink by differing amounts when cooled. You've seen all 3 videos, pause to vote in the comments which one you thought was fake. This in fact was a real way to make a mini motor. When the bare wire is in contact with the paper clips, the circuit is complete, and current running through the coil produces a magnetic field, which I'll show as a magnet here. That magnet, so to speak, wants to align itself with the permanent magnet below, so it rotates to try to do so. As it's rotating though, the circuit will disconnect because half of the wire ends have that insulating enamel. And without the complete circuit, the wire doesn't act like a magnet anymore and coasts by what would have been the point of alignment. Once it rotates enough, the bare wire will once again touch the paper clips, completing the circuit, and the coil experiences that torque again. This cycle happening over and over again allows the motor to spin continuously. When I picked it up, it happened to become even more balanced and really picked up some speed. This bimetallic strip also does bend the opposite way when cooled compared to when it's heated. That means a regular 5mW laser pointer isn't nearly powerful enough to light a match. I actually placed a paperclip behind the match and used an induction heater to heat it up, and I pulled out just in time so I could easily mask out the induction heater.